Once upon a time, in a lush green meadow, lived an industrious ant. Every day the ant worked diligently collecting food for the winter and storing it in the anthill. One day, while working, the ant noticed a grasshopper nearby. The grasshopper was playing music on his violin and was totally engrossed in his music. The ant, seeing the grasshopper's carefree attitude, stopped to ask, "Why aren't you working? Winter is coming, and you haven't stored any food. Don't you think it's time you started working?" The grasshopper, without even stopping his music, replied, "Why should I work? I have an entire summer to do whatever I want. I will start working only when I feel like." The ant, seeing that the grasshopper wasn't going to change his tune, shook his head and went back to work. Days turned into weeks, and the grasshopper continued to play his violin and flirt with the butterflies. The ant, on the other hand, continued to work hard, gathering food for himself and his colony. One day, in late autumn, a strong wind blew through the meadow, causing the grass to turn brown and the leaves to fall from the trees. The ant, seeing that winter was near, decided to store one last batch of food, and then headed to his warm and cozy anthill to spend the winter. The next day, a heavy snowfall blanketed the meadow. The wind howled and the temperature dropped. Inside the anthill, the ants were warm and safe, and they feasted on the food they had stored up. Suddenly, they heard a knock on the door. "Please let me in," a voice cried. "I'm freezing, and I'm very hungry." The ants opened the door and saw the grasshopper shivering in the cold. The ants, feeling sorry for the grasshopper, invited him in and offered him some food. The grasshopper, after regaining his strength, asked the ants if he could stay with them for the winter. The ants agreed, and so the grasshopper spent the winter with the ant colony, feasting on their food and playing his violin for them every day. When spring arrived, the ants went back outside to find that the meadow was even more beautiful than before. They had survived the winter and had plenty of food to last them until the next autumn. The ants and the grasshopper spent the spring and summer happily in the meadow. Now, this is what we call an ant's life. You see, the ant always works and never stops to smell the roses. The ant always thinks about the future and prepares accordingly. On the other hand, the grasshopper just lives in the moment and never bothers to prepare for the future. But no matter how hard the ant works, in the end, it is the grasshopper who enjoys life the most. So what's the moral of this story? Well, kids, it is that while it is important to work hard and be prepared for the future, it is also important to enjoy the present moment. After all, life is all about balance. So remember, kids, don't just work hard all the time. Take some time to relax and enjoy the present moment, just like the ant and the grasshopper did in the end. If you want to hear more such stories, stay tuned.